Hey family, I am an addict who believes in miracles, and I was thinking today about the next best thing. So there have been a few like goals or dreams that I had and wanted and whatever, and it just seems like so far away. And I felt the same way when I was, at the end of my using career. Like we have doctorates in this shit, Anyway, I remember thinking like it was just absolutely impossible. And honestly, I still feel like that with some other dreams. So that's one thing I love about recovery is that, the feelings and the process of getting through them can affect us at different stages of our growth. And anyway, the next best thing, right? Like if you're using, and I know I'm not politically correct, I don't even want to hear it. If you're using fentanyl, the next best thing would not be to use fentanyl, right? Because you could die from that. So what's the next best thing that could help you get through the day until you get to a point where you could either quit altogether or, taper down or get to detox or whatever, whatever your path is. What's the next best thing? If we can't have what's bad for us in active addiction, the next best thing could actually keep us alive. So when I first got into recovery, I didn't really want to get a sponsor and all that mess. I had a lot of trust issues, and so the next best thing was to get phone numbers of the women at the meetings and just kind of make friends with people that don't use drugs. And that really turned into an amazing part of my network, and absolutely has saved my recovery numerous times. My mind starts saying crazy stuff. I can call, these people that they'll listen, they'll, and I know we all have our different experiences. Like there are some people that, we still can't trust regardless of how long they've been clean or how good they look on the outside. They still gossip or they still whatever, but it's not all of us that act like that. Some of us got some act right. I love that when I first heard it. You need some act right. Some of us got some act right when we got clean. And some of us, it's taking a little longer. So, yes, we got to be cautious about that. But back to the next best thing, right? So, I have an overwhelming passion for recovery. And I actually ran a recovery house for a while which I didn't know at the time, but I was running it for a really corrupt company, and I didn't know that. And, I'm speeding up to the sheriff. Whoops. Let me slow down a little bit. But anyway, so when I found out how corrupt they were and I stopped working for them and with them, I really had this longing to help others in a way that I didn't have a path to. So, oh my gosh, I drove myself crazy, praying and begging my higher power for such a circumstance that I could, run another place. I talked to other places, and, for one reason or another, things weren't working out, and I was so frustrated. And so, I heard this message about what's the next best thing. Well, for me, the next best thing in that was sponsoring. I can sponsor a number of women and share my passion in that way for now, unless my higher power, changes it and gives me a new opportunity. For right now, I need to do the next best thing because, asking for something that's you know, possibly off in the future, maybe not, is just making me freaking crazy. I got a funny one too. I'm gonna end with this, but my husband and I have been trying to. We have some infertility issues or whatever. I'm gotten a little old for having babies, but anyway, my insides are still young, so we wanted to have one more, and or we were trying, and anyway, we miscarried a couple times, 3 times last year, and that was really rough. And so, you know, instead of driving myself crazy month after month, you know, just going through this whole like hopeful disappointment, I decided the next best thing was to get a puppy. And I know I'm using like humorous examples, but you know, I just want to throw it out there. Like, what are you struggling with, and what's the next best thing for you? Like, if I'm struggling in active addiction, what is the next best thing? Like, if I'm doing something dangerous, you know, you can do something less dangerous. Or, you know, if you need to quit all the way, like, how can you cut down? Or if you can't cut down, then ask for help somewhere. What's the very next best thing right in front of us that can help us along our path, even if it's not all the way to reaching the goal? You know, what is the next best thing in front of us? Some days I struggle with the thoughts of using because things are going really well, and I have to think, what is the next best thing? And for me, it's eating something, you know, that I shouldn't, or you know, acting out of my addiction some other way. I'll, you know, buy some stuff off the shopping app, or, you know, whatever. It just depends on where you are in your journey, and where you are, you know, between where you started and where your goals are. And, you know, wherever we are, like, I would hope our goals keep getting, you know, growing and whatnot. But anyway, what's your next best thing? Food for thought.